Now let's talk about some Twitter threads and have some discussions regarding these tweets. This tweet from Jess Pecked It. She says, men admitting they keep women isolated to trap them. Women who have sisterhoods leave terrible men. It's what they fear. Women will figure out the men they're with make them miserable and they don't have to suffer. We have been talking about the level of tolerable unhappiness and how women are saying, I'm not doing this anymore and just piecing out. And men do not want us talking in this public sphere anymore. Okay, so this post, he says, it's posts like this that makes my woman think she's treated unfair because someone tells me I'm a good father. It's stupid like this that causes drama in my life. Mom pages should be outlawed. Gathering of two or more Karens in the same space should be outlawed. Life would be more peaceful that way. Now, this man not using punctuation should also be outlawed, but he still gets to type on social media. Someone responds to him saying, the modern woman in America is the reason why most relationships fail, because this must be the same person because they don't like punctuation either. All right, the modern woman in America is the reason why most relationships fail, mostly because they go off of emotion and feelings and try to uphold these masculine positions. Well, to be honest, men don't care. We want a feminine woman who knows that if her man works and provides for his family, that she needs to maintain the house and kids. As a man, we don't need them to go out and make a lot of money and to provide. It just goes to their heads. Also, a non-traditional woman does not deserve a traditional man. And what it seems to be a traditional woman is someone that is just a servant. That's just a servant with no opinions and will just take whatever because she is a bang maid that has been placed here to serve her Pete Haver. The next screenshot that Jess Pecked It posted was from Brian Suave. He says, women's small groups and Bible studies are the root of countless issues in the church. Just one recent example. I met a man whose wife abruptly divorced him some years ago, apostatized, and began to brainwash his children. Guess what else happened? 4 to 6 women in the same small group at the same church all divorced their husbands as well. This is not an uncommon story. What did the men do to these women? What happened within these relationships? It wasn't just that women got together in a group. What happened within these groups? Or is it just these Christian males are just sucky and they happen to all go to the same church? Could that be the answer, Brian? Probably not, because what kind of introspection would you guys have? So this woman responded to those screenshots saying they want legalized slavery. It's as simple as that. They want someone they can treat however they see fit, who has no recourse and no ability to even begin to recognize how terrible of a person they are. And they want it to be okay in the eyes of society so they aren't a bad guy. And Jess Pecked It responded with, and to prevent those women from leaving them, women who get divorces are the real villains, not the men who drove them to. And Pamela says, yep, it's the same story every time, literally. They whine because they can't be a master to a slave and they can't be a savior to a sinner. They literally want to be God. It's insane. The crazy thing is so many women, and I keep saying this, across race, culture, and country of origin are saying these same things. That's the reason why I keep highlighting them. Someone posted this screenshot from this woman named Cooper Streaming. It says, I saw a woman say, ask a man to describe the qualities of a good woman and watch him describe a slave. And damn, basically. Socialist Ninja says, it's ironic to see a Christian complaining about how anyone else is brainwashing a child. How dare those women want more than just the scraps the men were giving them? Sarcasm. Ghost Purr says they don't even want to provide. They call their wives abusive if she relies on him for anything, even for cleaning up after himself, buying his own stuff, cooking for himself. Marty says, I wonder when men will figure out that we're not going back, no matter how they shriek and wail and threaten, no matter the violence. We're not going back to 1850, dudes. Deal or die alone. Women are more than prepared to do the latter rather than be slaves. So that whole get a cat and die alone is not working. And this is one of the reasons why. Sean at the bottom says, a non-traditional woman is not going to want a traditional man. What's this about deserve? Exactly. A non-traditional woman does not want this. It's like, why is it so hard to compute? Okay, so this right wing conspiracy theorist is banned off of multiple platforms, so we will be calling him SmAlex Mones. So, lawyers for the families of the victims of Sandy Hook Elementary School filed an emergency motion in U.S. bankruptcy court in Houston to liquidate SmAlex Mones Media Company. So, they are trying to take his media company, and they should. He owes way too much money. Snatch it. Yes, I am so happy. I am so refreshed by his tears. And like my girl Lori Irby is saying, she's clapping and saying 100. He is getting what he deserves. Francis says this will be a huge service to America. He definitely deserves. I hope he is liquidated. Underdog says it shouldn't take an emergency motion. He was found liable. He owes the family. End of story. It shouldn't be this hard. Jam and Jay says, why is this taking so long? Ernie says, can the American people then file a motion to liquidate CBS, CNN, Fox News? No, they can't. What are they liable for? What have they done that is close to what SmAlex Mones is doing? Chris with the K is a little peeved. He says it's amazing to me how the wrong words can ruin someone's life these days. No actions, just words. It looks like Chris with the K and SmAlex needs to understand what defamation and liable and all of that entails, especially SmAlex, considering he has a big platform with all of these people that he is spreading lies to. Maybe if Chris with a K and SmAlex actually looked up defamation and liable and all of that stuff before he started spreading conspiracy theories, then maybe he wouldn't have to liquidate. How about that? And then so I guess people are arguing back and forth with Chris with the K saying, I think I just proved my point. You didn't have to read my words at all, but you did and got upset. It's your choice how you react. You always have the choice to ignore things you don't like. But that's not how it works. Some of these people that listen to conspiracy theorists take these actions and then bombard people like these families and harm them. That's what happens. So SmAlex is getting what he deserves. Like some random guy said, he said their children never existed. He said the parents were actors. His wealth is built on deception. He doesn't deserve his money. Timothy is a little peeved. He says the Sandy Hook family attorneys are liars and have turned down offers and are trying to shut down the maker of money, which goes against their own clients' interests because it was never about the families or the kids. It was about using them to shut up SmAlex, who talked about Sandy Hook for less than 30 minutes with his free speech. It's a kangaroo court they plan to use on us next for nothing. The case will be overturned because it was a mustache guy from Germany's style proceeding, because those that are trying to shut down SmAlex are the fascists and authoritarians, just like Mustache Man, and they don't want you to know because they want you. I'm sorry, because they want you are next. So grammar's a little issue there, but he's saying you are next. And I'll end it with this. This lovely baby is AVL Richmond. She died at Sandy Hook. Alex Jones not only told his followers this child is living under an assumed name with another family in Newton, but harassed her parents for years, demanding they prove she existed. Her father self-deleted as a result. This is some of the fallout, traumatizing parents further. That's what SmAlex and his people are responsible for. And I'm glad that he is crying. I am glad. It makes me happy. All right, let me know what you think about these two. Okay, so Call to Activism posted this tweet. It says, boom, the U.S. military will remove all references to the Confederacy from buildings and street names and will rename 9 military bases named after Confederate generals. Good. Do you support this? I absolutely do support this. The Confederacy was used as a tool to help keep slaves enslaved in the South. And the South talks about it's about heritage, not hate. It's about heritage of keeping slaves and keeping people in slave labor and keeping people doing the business of like cattle. That's all they wanted to do. And they wanted to fight for their rights to keep slaves. And that's it. And they absolutely, we don't have to erase history. We could still talk about these deplorable people. We could still talk about the people that participated in the slave trade in any capacity, buying, selling, using the goods, making all this money for generations. We can still continue to talk about that, but they should not be immortalized with statues and bases and street names. Those people were the losers of the Civil War. Then we have Brianna coming in. You people accused us of erasing history when you're doing exactly that. She says, you people. Now, this is not about erasing history, Brianna. This is about the fact that these generals do not deserve to be immortalized. We can still talk about them in history, and we should remember them as the losers of the Civil War. Beachside Sports says the fact that we actually have military bases named after literal traitors has always blown my mind. Would you be okay naming buildings after Bin Laden? No, of course not. Name the buildings after real American war heroes, not traitors who lost. They wanted to keep slaves. They wanted to keep slavery intact in the South. They lost. They deserve to have those street names changed to actual other people who have done things that is worthy. Confederate soldiers and the Confederacy lost. Slavery is well, it got wiped. We do still have other things that need to be fixed, but the Civil War was lost. People took some exception to Beachside saying, oh, child, your poor mind. I'm sorry that you've been a victim of our education system, because for whatever reason, they believe that the Confederates should still have name buildings and stuff. Dwayne said they weren't really traitors, though. They were standing up against the Fed because of states' rights to keep slaves. They fought for their state and their homes to keep slaves. That's what they wanted. It's SME says, just because they lost does not make them traitors. Okay, but yes, it does. They lost. They lost the Civil War. The Civil War was fought so that the South could keep slaves, and no, they lost. So they should not still be immortalized, especially upkept with tax dollars. Hammerhead says, if you lived during that time and understood the love and loyalty people held for their states versus the apprehension and uneasiness they felt towards the absentee and controlling federal government, you wouldn't call them traitors. It's so easy to judge what we don't understand. If I had been alive during that time, I would probably be an enslaved person. So I would understand and still would fall on the same lines of, I am glad that they are being wiped from streets and military bases, because I am a highly melanated woman. And my family, my family is from Louisiana. My grandfather and his family were from slaves and sharecroppers. So, yes, I am still of this mind. They should be wiped from buildings and streets. V. Will says, exactly. The South lost. The South was on the wrong side of history. The South were traitors. If I remember correctly, monuments and statues were installed 50 plus years after the South fell, after Reconstruction. So racist Southerners could oppress the Black population. Sifu says, how is this erasing history? Be specific. It's not like they are wiping it from history books or trying to rewrite history. Exactly. They still lost. We could still talk about that. Mr. One on time says, and they all sucked as generals. Benning was horrible. Okay, so as you can see, there is a mixed bag, but I'm so glad that the people that are on the side of the Confederates are a little hot and bothered. They're a little triggered, aren't they? But you guys let me know where you fall on this. Don't forget to like, comment, share. And if you've made it this far, go ahead and hit follow if you're not already following me.